The moment my boss saw the woman sitting across from me, every bit of color drained from his face, his coffee cup slipped from his hand and shattered across the polished restaurant floor. Conversations stopped. Waiters froze. My friend Caleb stared at me in confusion, while the woman beside me, his younger sister Rachel, slowly turned toward the man who looked as though he had just seen a ghost. I had come expecting nothing more than an awkward blind date. Instead, I had walked straight into a chapter of someone else's unfinished life. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach people who may need a little hope today. A week earlier, Caleb had laughed as he insisted I had spent too many evenings working and too few actually living. We had worked together for years at a construction company in Columbus, Ohio, and he knew I rarely accepted invitations outside the office. After my father passed away and my mother became ill, work had become my escape. Relationships felt like something meant for other people. Caleb never stopped trying to pull me back into the world, and eventually he convinced me to meet his sister. Rachel wasn't what I expected. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She spoke warmly to every server, smiled at children passing by, and somehow made silence feel comfortable instead of awkward. As we shared stories about growing up in Ohio, I realized I hadn't laughed that freely in years. For the first time since losing my father, the future didn't seem quite so empty. And everything changed when my boss Jonathan entered the restaurant with a client. The confident executive I knew suddenly looked terrified. Rachel's smile disappeared just as quickly. Neither of them spoke for several long seconds. The silence carried years of pain that none of us could understand. Caleb looked between them with growing concern, clearly realizing there was a history his sister had never shared. Jonathan quietly apologized to his client and walked toward our table. His hands trembled so much that I almost didn't recognize the composed leader who managed hundreds of employees with remarkable confidence. Rachel stood slowly, her eyes filling with tears she refused to let fall. What happened next surprised everyone. Jonathan admitted that 22 years earlier, before building his company, he had been a struggling college student engaged to Rachel's older sister, Grace. They had dreamed about opening a small business together, but life had other plans. Grace became seriously ill, and despite every effort, she passed away before their wedding. Jonathan was devastated. Rachel was only 14 at the time, and after the funeral, both families drifted apart under the weight of grief. Neither side knew how to face the constant reminders of what had been lost. Rachel confessed she had often wondered whether Jonathan had simply forgotten Grace and moved on. Seeing him now, unable to hide his heartbreak after all these years, shattered that belief completely. The restaurant around us faded into the background as old memories slowly surfaced. Jonathan carried a worn photograph in his wallet that he had never removed. Rachel revealed she still kept letters Jonathan had written to Grace before her illness. Neither had stopped caring. They had simply carried their grief in different directions. Over the following weeks, something remarkable happened. Instead of reopening old wounds, they helped each other heal them. Jonathan visited Rachel's parents for the first time in decades. They laughed through old family photo albums and cried over memories that had been locked away for years. Caleb admitted he had forgotten how much joy once filled their home before loss changed everything. Watching that family reconnect changed something inside me too. Jonathan began sharing more of his own struggles at work instead of pretending to be invincible. I found the courage to tell Rachel about my fears of losing more people I loved. Rather than judging me, she reminded me that protecting our hearts by keeping people away only guarantees loneliness. Months later, Jonathan surprised everyone by creating the Grace Harrison Scholarship, honoring the woman who had inspired him to build a life of service. Every year, the scholarship would help nursing students pursue their dreams, ensuring Grace's kindness would continue touching lives she would never meet. Rachel stood beside me during the dedication ceremony, her hand resting gently in mine. Caleb smiled wider than I had ever seen before, quietly whispering that his blind date idea had worked out better than he could have imagined. Sometimes the people we meet don't arrive to change only our future. Sometimes they help heal the parts of the past we never thought could be repaired. I walked into that restaurant hoping to meet someone special. Instead, I witnessed forgiveness rebuilding an entire family and discovered that love often grows strongest where compassion makes room for healing. Before we reach the end, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us about a reunion, unexpected friendship, or second chance that restored hope in your own life. Your story might encourage someone reading through the comments today. And if this story touched your heart, reminded you that forgiveness can outlast pain, or inspired you to believe in second chances again, please support the video with a like, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more uplifting stories. Because sometimes one unexpected meeting can remind us that even after years of silence, hope is never truly gone.